You might not be able to tell based on the games I've recently played and covered for the channel, but I'm fond of RPGs from all countries, not just Japan. Knights of the Old Republic was my first ever RPG, and I've also had fantastic times with the Witcher series as well as Divinity Original Sin 2, among others. Despite that affinity, it has been a while since a Western developed RPG has captured my attention, so it makes sense that the one that accomplished that task would be heavily inspired by Japanese developed RPGs. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 looks like an incredibly bold new RPG. The presentation is absolutely fantastic, the world and story compelling, the characters thus far both relatable with a lot of room to grow, and the combat a wild ride. I'm very hopeful that Clair Obscur lives up to these expectations, so let's get hyped. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a turn-based quick-time action RPG developed by French independent studio Sandfall Interactive and published by Kepler Interactive. Clair Obscur is the first game developed by Sandfall Interactive, which was founded by former Ubisoft employees, so there is still plenty of game developing experience behind this game. Creative director Guillaume Broche was quoted as saying that the drive behind making Clair Obscur was that the AAA gaming space has been neglecting the turn-based RPG, and he wanted his game to fill that void. Since its announcement, there has been a steady stream of trailers and information coming out about the game, including the recent revelation of the game having over 1 million wishlists on Steam. Other information I found helpful in the lead up to the game is that the game's main story should take about 30 hours with 60 plus for completionists, and the pricing at $49.99, although there is currently a 10% discount on Steam for pre-orders. Feels nice to be pleasantly surprised with pricing for once, especially post a certain announcement. I was curious if the developers will release a demo for the game. I think that's the next logical step to increase anticipation and hype for the game, but everything that I'm seeing so far is pointing to this game being a big success, especially for an independent studio in their first game. Set in a land inspired by pre-World War I France, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 draws its name from the group we are leading, Expedition 33. Every year, the mysterious being known as the Paintress paints a new number. Everyone of that age disappears into smoke. Each year, an expedition is launched to prevent this tragedy from happening. Each year, they have failed. Now it is time for Expedition 33 to set off on their attempt, made up of a group of people, some of whom are facing their potential final year of life, and all of whom have lost loved ones to the Paintress's baleful brush. Will they be the ones to finally end this nightmare, or will they pass the task unfulfilled onto the next expedition? I don't know who thought up this premise, but kudos to them because I never would have imagined it. But now that it has been put out there, it's genuinely horrifying. All I need to know is the premise, and I'm already filling in the world building myself, and it is clear to me from what I've seen in the trailers that the writers for the game have thought this through. The characters are fascinating in their interactions with great motivations and grief in their past. They've basically been at war for decades where they know the mission but know basically nothing else on how to accomplish it as they see their leaders, family, friends, and wisest people perish in the effort to stop the Paintress. With each year and each number, the people left behind are those with the least experience in life and a growing sense of despair. Beyond that, I think it's also clear that there is more to this story than we are seeing, and I simply can't wait to see how this all turns out. It is possible to become too ambitious with stories that then serve to let us down, but I suspect that Clair Obscur won't fall into that trap. It's not a convoluted story, just a compelling one with a lot of depth around it, and I think that's the difference that will hopefully lead to an excellent narrative. As for combat, while the game is turn-based, there are quite a lot of real-time actions to take during the game. Beyond even the timing-based powering up and shielding or evading seen in other turn-based games from Paper Mario to Like a Dragon, there is a lot going on for Clair Obscur. The setup is standard RPG fare. You have your party of characters fighting against the enemies, there's a turn bar on the side of the screen to tell you who is going to be acting next. When it is your turn, you'll get the chance to pick between various attacks and abilities, plus the usual guarding, items, or running away with your tail between your legs options. From there, everything gets deeper. The characters have different melee versus ranged attacks, and transitioning between them is important because melee attacks build AP, which you can then use for skills in the ranged mode. That is the main strategy part of things from what I've seen, is taking some risks by closing in and perhaps being in range for a big attack, but giving you a chance to build up to a great combo of your own. Then we get to what I was talking about earlier with the timing events, where you can dodge or parry attacks or get boosts to your own attacks. One thing I always worry about in situations like this is how harsh are the consequences for not getting it perfect on defense or offense. When I've played games with similar systems in the past, there were some bosses where you truly did need to get at least good timing on every attack to survive. I don't particularly like when it's balanced that way, and I do feel that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 may be embracing that style. That is my one concern though, because the amount of options for the game for abilities and customization are fantastic for those who love tinkering with systems like that. The battles themselves seem exciting and dynamic in both presentation and action for the players. I could see this gameplay system feeling like a blast to play, but anytime a system like this comes around, I'm always aware that there are some people who are going to feel shut out either through not liking the timing events or through motor issues preventing them from properly playing it. For that reason, I hope that the game has accessibility options to help those players play. The game does appear to be a fairly linear game, but with some depth and secrets to each level to discover. I think level design is going to be a huge part of making Clair Obscur as good a game as it can be. Purposeful level design in RPGs, and not just willy-nilly putting chores on the map for players to obsess over and complete with no real depth, is a dying art. I've seen hints that Clair Obscur understands that and can make levels that don't just look pretty and feel related to the world, but ones that feel deeply ingrained and raise the player's experience with strong environmental storytelling. Also, the overworld map looks really nice to run around on. Not much to say on top of that since that's not a main focus, but it's nice to see. What is also nice to see is, well, everything else in the game, honestly. Now, I've been burned by games with great visual presentation that didn't live up to that potential in the other aspects of the game, but I suspect Clair Obscur will soar over that trap. As I've outlined already, the core of the game already looks great to me, and then you add on top of that the presentation. The art looks absolutely gorgeous. Every landscape, building, character, and more have such life and personality sewn into them that I can feel myself being immersed in the world just by watching. Actually playing it up close and personal, that's gotta be a great experience. The world has an amazing sense of scale. Everything that I've seen is bigger than our characters and makes you feel insignificant in the face of everything, but our characters keep standing and keep forging forward. In some ways, it seems that the whole symbolism of the game is about striving against something that seems all-powerful and unknowable, but maybe I'm reading too much into it just from what we've seen so far. I could go on about how the lighting is used effectively to show hope and despair, how fluid the animations are, and how they bring out the characters' personalities. All of this just from what I've seen in trailers and footage, without laying a finger on the game. The music I've heard so far seems to have taken strong inspiration from the Nier games, which, if you're going to take inspiration from a series of games for music, there are few better than Nier. That said, the composers cleverly towed the line between inspired and copied. It is clear they are using similar instrumentation and mixing of vocals while retaining a distinct Clair Obscur style to distinguish it from other games. It's the piano. It's the piano. That's very French roots, Debussy, all that stuff. As for voice acting, we have a star-studded cast with some incredibly talented vocal performers, a decorated screen actor, and Andy Serkis, who is both. None of it feels like stunt casting though. Thus far, the performances have sounded amazing, and I have faith that this cast can take this story and elevate it through their talent. The UI seems good from what I've seen before, but ultimately, it's the user experience, especially for combat, that is going to be the better determiner of the ultimate quality for the presentation. I will also reiterate the hope for solid accessibility options so this game won't be restrictive for disabled gamers. There is not another game this year that I think has achieved the same level of incredible environmental art and character design, plus an amazing soundtrack and stellar vocal performances as Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It is not uncommon for my excitement for a game to increase as I am writing the script and diving more and more into the game I'm talking about. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 fits into that category, as well as the rarer category of every single detail and trailer building up my hype. Sandfall Interactive has done an incredible job with their press and communication. Certainly helps that the game looks spectacular, but to have the confidence to market the game the way they have speaks volumes. I think Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is going to be one of the defining games of the year, and I really hope I'm correct on that. What do all of you think, though? Is Clair Obscur worming its way into your brain like it is mine? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and while heading there, if you have not given the video a like and subscribed to the channel already, now is the time to do it. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day, and happy gaming.